Hey Leo, here's the video I promised. I thought I'd do it this way because for this scenario, to give you the whole story in one go is better than a live chit chat back and forth. And then you can ponder the whole shebang in one go. Now, I think I might have hinted at this a while back, but you were too busy to think about it, and I can't find that message anyway, so let's just start afresh. Now, this might sound a little audacious, Leo, but I can see a way that we can work together. I'm not at all convinced that you fully understand the potential of what it is that I can bring to the table. Most people don't. It's not your fault. But what this is all about really is maximizing the impact of your work. Now, I know you're a very slick operator, but what I've been exceptional at is maximizing the impact of subject matter experts. I've done this many times over. Haven't talked about it in LinkedIn, but that's kind of a lot of the work that I've done to maximize the impact of their programs. And what I'm proposing doesn't require much from you at all. Your live work doesn't change at all. I've got a strong sense of what you bring to schools. I'm not blowing your trumpet here when I say it's obvious you're an exceptional operator. My take of your work is that you discover what a school needs and meet those needs by pulling various bits and pieces of your expertise, putting it together in a bundle and then presenting it to schools. And I assume you deliver your work through live interaction only with schools. Again, I think you're in a rare category. I see a lot of people on LinkedIn and I just go, really? Yeah. But honestly, everything I've seen of yours, I think this dude really knows what he's doing. So, kudos. However, regardless of how good your expertise is, for a school to maximize the potential benefits from your work, they need to have in place a strong implementation phase. And that's where I come in. And by implementation phase, I mean a focused way to maximize the conversion of ideas from your program into the classroom. Now, I've done a lot of research, motivated by you. You probably know I did a huge deep dive into all this stuff and thought, that's what I'm on. This is really what it's all about. So for an implementation phase to be effective, when I say this is what it's all about, this is why a lot of training is under potentialized, because there's no strong implementation phase, or it's fully live. That's all it is, right? So for an implementation phase to be effective, it needs to be based on social learning principles. No surprises there. It must have a strong focus on knowledge sharing between teachers. Hopefully no surprise. But the implementation phase needs to be much more than a talk fest. It's got to be more than just a talky, sit in groups, what are we going to do this week, blah, blah, blah. Because there's no accountability with that approach. So it's got to be blended. In other words, your live work and the live teacher discussions, which are really important, are underpinned by an interactive hub built on a social learning platform. That shouldn't come as a surprise coming from me. And the asynchronous online aspect builds the accountability and the momentum. That's something I can talk about more later on, but you need that to build the accountability. And also the longevity of the program. So essentially, we create a mini learning culture around your work where everyone's keen to learn, keen to try new ideas, and keen to share their versions of your strategies. Live, they share it live, but they also importantly share it online. That's the key, and then anyone can access it at any time. So here's the simplest version of this type of thing in action. You offer a school one of your tailored programs. Maybe you come in for 4 times a year, once a term, so it's a 12-month program, whatever. And I'm assuming after your first session, teachers have some strategies to try out. So we underpin your program with wait for it, an EdSplorer hub or an EdSplorer implementation hub. And again, adding a hub doesn't in any way alter the way you work live. So teachers are implementing strategies from your program and posting their implementation reflections. But the clincher is some of these new strategies are becoming part of teachers' routines. And so those teachers go to the teacher-generated tutorial space, click the button and complete the template, and voila, here we have another teacher-generated tutorial based on Leo's work that comes to light. And so over time, more and more of these tutorials develop. So, 10 teachers could have 10 variations on one of your key core themes, but those teacher-generated tutorials are really powerful. Of course, you could create tutorials as well, plus we could add some from the web, but The key is teachers are generating their own content based on these ideas. And then once this blended program is killing it in the school, and once the Explorer Hub is proven to be effective, we suggest to the school, hey, why not extend the hub to incorporate any new learning teachers undertake, any new PD, any new focus of the school. So we transition to a full-blown learning culture initiative. It's like one step away, but it's on a bigger scale. So obviously there's a fee attached, and you could be involved in the full learning culture initiative or not, in terms of how that works. It's up to you. But regardless, you earn 15 to 20% of that revenue, and more if you're involved. So now clearly the blended version of your work would cost more than the live version. So you offer two versions, right? The live only version is cheaper, and the blended version is more expensive. But so let's say a school takes the live only option because it's cheaper. No problem, right? So once you're halfway through the program and it's going over well, we have a chat with the school and point out that we can gain a lot more bang for buck, a lot more traction by adding a hub. Now, if they're sort of on the fence about that, we offer them a pilot. So it's cheap, just with some volunteer teachers who are really keen, and we can prove the concept that way. And perhaps your program extends beyond the initial phase, and then the pilot's upgraded to all teachers, and then finally to the full-blown learning culture initiative. There are many, many variations to this theme. Obviously, we need to work out a pricing and revenue sharing structure, but I'm simply keen to see if I've piqued your interest. Just for the record, if we get into a school network of 1,000 teachers who eventually buy into the full learning culture initiative, then over and above what you get for your program, that's a 7 to 10K US commission for you just for being in the conversations. All right, so I don't think this is something to be scoffed at. So that's it for now. You might want to play this a couple of times, but let me know your questions and thoughts. That's it in a nutshell. As I said, I wanted to do that in one bang, so then you can look at the whole thing without interjecting and just have a think about the whole thing. I know you're busy and you're probably trying to get your thing off the ground, but this is not like drop your thing and do this. This is another way to leverage what you already do. So that's my audacious plan, suggestion, proposal, call it what you like. See what you think. Let me know. See you soon. Cheers.